he was gonna probably take a nap and then get up later and go do his last-minute shopping like he usually does.
But Sunday morning, the family received a call that Sen was not on the return flight.
At this point, I mean, it's been so long. He never goes this long without speaking to us, so we know something's wrong.
The family contacted the West Palm Beach Police Department. Here's what we know. Sen arrived from the Bahamas Wednesday. Thursday night, he had dinner with a friend. Steve Marinac said his friend talked about being in town for a doctor's visit at the VA hospital.
And then I talked to him Friday morning, and that was the last time I spoke to him.
Saturday, we know Sen visited an auto supply store in Riviera Beach. Detectives confirmed Sen checked out of his Best Western hotel Sunday, but where he went after that, we don't know. Tuesday morning, they found his rental car 4 miles away in the parking lot of a Marriott hotel.
He's always been there for anybody. He's just a very hard-working man on this small island.
Now, Sen's wife told us that the bank told her that the credit cards were used somewhere in the Palm Springs area at an ATM. Reporting live, Tanya Rogers, WPTV News Channel 5.
Here's how you can help. You can reshare our post on Facebook with Lauren Sen's picture. And remember, if you happen to see him or know anything about where he could be, please call the West Palm Beach Police or Crime Stoppers. One county wants homeowners to pay even more when it comes to helping schools. News Channel 5's Sabira Rayford is live outside the Martin County School Board, where the district just wrapped up an emergency meeting about a measure that'll be on the ballot this November. Sabira?
In November, if you're a resident in Martin County, you'll notice a question on the ballot asking for a half-cent per dollar school sales surtax. Now, back in April, the board voted to have this question on the ballot. The school board projects the increase would bring in $16 million a year over a 7-year period. The money will be used for facility upgrades and security improvements. This comes after voters approved a property tax increase to improve teachers' pay and for school security.
Construction costs continue to go up. We're sitting at a point right now where you sit there every time that something breaks or goes wrong and you have to decide, do you repair it? Do you fix it? You know, are you going to just rebuild it? Are you just throwing more money down after a problem? Or do you need to just go ahead and bite it and just kind of finish the problem and take care of what needs to be taken care of?
And at today's meeting, the school board actually voted to change the date that this would go into effect. Now it would go into effect January 1st of 2019 instead of February 1st of 2019. Reporting live in Martin County, Sabira Rayford, WPTV News Channel 5.
Contention on Capitol Hill as confirmation hearings get underway for Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. It was a rocky start to today's hearings, with Democrats calling for the hearing to be delayed to allow examination of newly released documents.
We don't even know what is being hidden.
Our duty to the American public is to evaluate a candidate on their body of work.
Democrats are asking the White House to hand over thousands of documents about Kavanaugh's time as an attorney in the George W. Bush White House. But their plan was unsuccessful, and the week-long hearings will continue as scheduled. Republicans hold the advantage with a Senate majority, which means they can confirm Kavanaugh with no Democratic votes. Former Arizona Senator John Kyle will take the place of the late John McCain in the Senate. His appointment means the Republican attorney will be able to vote on Supreme Court nominee Kavanaugh's confirmation. Kyle will replace McCain until a special election is held at the same time as the November 2020 general election. Chicago's mayor will not run for re-election. Democrat Rahm Emanuel made the surprise announcement today. The 58-year-old says he wants to spend more time with his family. Mayor Emanuel has been facing unpopularity. Last month, he drew some widespread criticism for blaming a lack of morals in predominantly Black and Hispanic neighborhoods for the uptick of violent crime. Well, like climbing a mountain, the erosion left behind after Tropical Storm Gordon beat our coastline, wiping out the millions of dollars in beach renourishment projects. And more headaches for drivers in Boynton Beach. The road project just delayed, just as crews prepared to begin another one. And Storm Team 5 Chief Meteorologist Steve Weigel with your most accurate forecast in just a minute.
This is News Channel 5 at 5. Thanks for making WPTV your #1 most trusted news source.
An update for you just into the newsroom. A gas leak that had closed down Middle Road south of Via Marina in Palm Beach. Well, police tweeted that out, that there were crews on the scene. We understand it is now open. So again, Middle Road on Palm Beach back open to drivers. Animal control in Fort Pierce needs your help tracking down the owner of this dog. Authorities say the dog may have been tethered for some time, and they can tell that because he has injuries, very specific injuries around his neck. We're told the dog did manage to break his tether and entered a trap that had been set to catch a different dog. Let them know if you know that animal. Well, tonight, keeping shelter dogs cool in Palm Beach County, commissioners may be talking about this when they meet in about 45 minutes at 6 o'clock. Animal Care and Control has previously said portable AC units are not an option because the shelter's electric load is at capacity. They're sweating it out. A construction project in Boynton Beach is 10 months behind schedule. The work on Woolbright Road and I-95 started in early 2016 and has caused a lot of traffic headaches. And now, get this, another project is set to begin. Double trouble. South County reporter Miranda Christian looked into how much longer drivers can expect this construction to last.
The Florida Department of Transportation says the widening project at Woolbright Road and I-95 was supposed to be done in December of 2017. The contractor fell behind on working multiple projects.
To say it's been a headache is an understatement.
The contractor is being fined $8,400 a day until the job is complete.
It's very rare that people get things done on time.
And now here we are knocking on the door of another December.
Anthony Mays works right down the street from the interchange and hates driving through it.
And people who don't normally travel Woolbright Road think the lanes are going to be straight, and they end up crossing from their lane over into your lane, and you have to drive extra defensively now.
He says the construction impacted his tax business this past year.
People don't even want to come this way. Oh, you where all that construction is.
And another project from Gateway Boulevard to Atlantic Avenue will begin September 9th. Mays worries that both projects will create more frustration and headaches for drivers.
More mass confusion, more traffic being backed up, people having to leave home for work even early.
Arthur Brand, who lives by I-95, says the road work doesn't bother him too much, and the end result will help with traffic in the area.
Because you get traffic that stacks up and things of that nature, and so now it can flow.
FDOT tells me they do plan for this project to be done by the end of October. The next project from Gateway to Atlantic starts next week. Reporting in Boynton Beach, I'm Miranda Christian, WPTV News Channel 5.
Protecting your personal information. The St. Lucie County Clerk is holding a shredding event. Mark this on your calendar. It's November 2nd. It'll be held in the parking lot of the South County Annex Courthouse in St. Lucie West, and it'll take place from 10 to 1. The St. Lucie Clerk says it will accept 3 boxes per vehicle. Well, people were seeing double during the final round of the Dell Technologies Championship in Boston. Take a look. Yeah, one of these is Tiger Woods. That's his look-alike right there on the left. There's, of course, the real guy on the right. The impersonator posed for pictures with those that were there to see the real Tiger Woods in action at the PGA Tour's second playoff event. I would think they would have known the difference, right?
You know, why do that? You know, don't you just want to watch the golf tournament?
I would think. Yeah, I don't think Tiger's having a lot of time during a tournament to go take photos. So I guess it was pretty obvious. Maybe it was the novelty of it. Who knows?
Maybe he's paying that guy to take some of the...
This is all possible.
Yeah.
All right, Steve, what is that behind you?
Yeah, that's Gordon. Gordon is bearing down on the northern Gulf now and is going to make landfall later tonight. It'll either be a tropical storm or a Category 1 hurricane. Either way, it's already bringing some heavy rainfall for the Panhandle, and it'll move in relatively close to New Orleans with some gusty winds and, of course, those rain bands working in through the Panhandle and then eventually all the way up in through the Mississippi. And there's the forecast track. It weakens quickly well, the wind field weakens, but it'll still be a big rainmaker all the way up in toward the Great Lakes, and that is the forecast heading into Friday and Saturday. We do have a few showers still working in along the coastline around Palm Beach, West Palm, a few more off the coast. There's streamer showers there, and a few more well to the south of Miami. Most of the rainfall during the afternoon has been on the west coast of Florida, but we could still see a shower here. Here's our other storm. This is a hurricane now. This is Florence. It's churning in the Atlantic, and the latest on this has the winds at 85 and moving toward the west-northwest at about 12. Now, the forecast tracks, we've been watching this one, it's been out there for almost a week now, has been pushing, at least adjusting a little farther west and west, but there's a little higher confidence now that it will make a turn before Bermuda and likely just to the east of Bermuda, although the European model is still pretty aggressive in bringing it closer to the Carolina coastline. So we'll monitor it, just like I said last week. Even though last week it looked like it was going to turn north very quickly. Way out there, so lots of time to watch it. As far as our weather forecast for the evening, looks nice. We'll see a partly cloudy sky and a quick moving shower. The computer models still have a little streamer shower through the overnight into tomorrow morning. Looks pretty good. Spotty shower just like today. Quick shower, otherwise hazy sunshine. Very similar weather pattern for Thursday and Friday too. Our daytime highs will be in the high 80s and low 90s. That is about where we should be this time of year for our daytime highs. A little choppy for boaters. Seas about 2 to 3. A little breezy at times, but not a bad day to be on the water. Watch out for rip currents. Partly cloudy tonight, stray shower 2, 79 the overnight low. Tomorrow 90 degrees. It'll be partly sunny again, and we'll see those quick showers along the coast. Some of them will make it in toward the lake area. Fair weather day. Nice for this time of year. Similar for Thursday, and not much of a change even into Friday. Our rain chances do bump up a little bit on Saturday and Sunday. Won't be a washout, won't be like yesterday, but we will see scattered showers and storms both weekend days.
Steve, thanks. Right now, some last-minute preparations are underway ahead of Tropical Storm Gordon, which is expected, as Steve's been telling us, to make landfall the Gulf Coast within the next few hours. Let's go to NBC's Jay Gray right now, live in Gulfport, Mississippi. Jay, what's it looking like there right now?
Hey there, Kelly. Well, the wind's picked up significantly over the last few minutes here. Clouds are building is where we've seen a couple of rain squalls throughout the day. It's going to get much worse. Look, if it stays on its current track, this system would hit here. This would be the strike point. Right now, Gordon continues to churn in the warm waters of the Gulf, building strength and momentum as it moves in.
Jay, question for you.
Look, along with the rain that we're going to get and the go ahead, Kelly.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was waiting to see if there was something else. Just the mood of the folks there who live along the Gulfport area. Certainly, you know, everybody always remembers back to Katrina. So, you know, what's the mood of the people that live in that part of the Gulf Coast?
I think they're paying attention to this storm, Kelly, and it's a great point because it's been a slow storm season up to this point, but we have seen people getting the supplies they need, the food, the water, making sure their gas tanks are topped off and that they have fuel for generators if they have those. We also know that while people have been out and about, and they continue to be right now, they have their plans in place and plan to get out in plenty of time to make sure that everything's safe. Talked to one family a bit earlier today who said they were going to come out, take some pictures out here at the beach before things got too rough, and then go review their plan, their hurricane plan. Probably a great idea because this is really going to be an issue as we get into the early evening through overnight and into early morning tomorrow. So we're going to see that rain continue for a while. The water with this system is going to be the main situation here. We're going to have some flash flooding because of the rains. And then you've got a storm surge that some forecasters are saying could be 2 to 6 feet. That could cause some significant damage here. And of course the winds could gust 60 to 70 miles an hour. That could bring down some power lines. It's going to be a rough ride for the next couple of days, Kelly.
All right, Jay Gray, thanks for your live report. We appreciate your perspective. And we'll be back with more on News Channel 5 right after this. At after a medical call at a San Diego assisted living facility. San Diego's bravest spotted, get this, Marjorie Harford playing some ping pong. She was playing alone. So fireman Nick Palanch accepted a challenge from this 101-year-old who the staff says is always up for a game. Well, he was taking it easy. Oh, he was going soft on Marjorie. Then she shows her real skills and she smokes the ball past him. Nick said he just could not believe how good she was. No word on the final score, but you can do that at 101. More power to you.
That is the best 101-year-old game playing I've ever seen on ping pong.
Yes, exactly.
Kelly, thank you very much. I'm Jay Cashmere, live in the newsroom. Coming up all new at 5:30, climbing a mountain. The local beach is plagued with erosion just months after millions are spent to renourish our beaches. Also, 2 men disappeared nearly 15 years ago after an encounter with the same Florida sheriff's deputy. Tonight, the action just taken to bring their family justice. And a warning for owners of popular cars and SUVs, the dangerous transmission issue, and the 2 things you need to ask for right now. Those stories and more ahead at 5:30.
Now from WPTV, this is News Channel 5 at 5:30.
Right now, all eyes on the tropics, the Gulf Coast, bracing for what could become Hurricane Gordon. Hurricane Florence also churning in the Atlantic, and that's not all. Let's get right to Storm Team 5 Chief Meteorologist Steve Weigel. Steve.
All right, let's take a look at it, Jay. First, a look at Gordon, which is bearing down on the Gulf Coast now, bringing some heavy rainfall. The outer bands of this tropical storm are working in across the panhandle now. Landfall will be later tonight, and it'll track inland and weaken quickly after that. Most of the weather from this is on the eastern half of the storm center and the storm track, so this is more of a panhandle storm. And they'll also be dealing with some storm surge simply because it's a big issue in the northern Gulf Coast, and this one has a wind field that's going to push a lot of that water up against the coastline tonight. And we have showers popping up across South Florida. What a big change from yesterday when we had some pretty significant rainfall in spots. Here's a look at Florence, now a hurricane. This is expected to weaken to a tropical storm and then up to a hurricane again, and still forecast to make that turn toward the northwest just before Bermuda. We'll have to watch it closely. The European model disagrees on that track, and the European model did a fantastic job with Gordon. Here's a look at your evening forecast. Partly cloudy, a little breezy with a stray shower. More on the forecast as we head through the weekend into the weekend coming up.
All right, Steve, thank you. Well, from the Treasure Coast to Palm Beach County, Tropical Storm Gordon kicked up winds and waves. Luckily, we avoided a direct hit, but the storm's still strong enough to impact the coastline. News Channel 5's Ryan Hughes is live tonight in Fort Pierce. And Ryan, what does it look like out there right now?
Well, Jay, good evening. We are not talking about major damage by any means. We got incredibly lucky, but a lot of people still came out here to see the impacts from Gordon. And take a look, you can see a lot of the seaweed that washed the shore, and then the erosion just made a lot worse from the storm. All of this coming after millions of dollars was just spent here to improve the beach. At Jetty Park.
Very, very different. The seaweed is just incredible that's been washed up.
Parts of the St. Lucie County shoreline now blanketed in seaweed, and Tropical Storm Gordon causing some erosion and adding to this 2 to 4 foot cliff on the beach. It comes after St. Lucie County just wrapped up an $8.9 million replenishment project in May, adding 500,000 cubic yards of sand after taking a beating from Hurricanes Matthew and Irma.
That was split between the federal government picking up 77% of that, and then the remaining portion was split between the county and the state of Florida.
Chopper 5 over Boynton Beach, where we also noticed erosion and the waves crashing against the seawalls. In North Palm Beach, the shoreline up against the retention walls.
Yeah, with all the hurricanes, definitely see transition and the way the sand moves.
Within the past 4 years, Palm Beach County has spent nearly $40 million on beach replenishment.
That's why people come here, you know? That's why tourists come here.
According to the Army Corps of Engineers, within the past year, Martin County has spent $7.2 million. Many say it's part of doing business in South Florida, and you need to spend money to make money.
With tourism, the main economy it is, but also the beaches are so beautiful.
Yeah, and St. Lucie County is now working through the permit process for a project that would take all the sand that gets trapped here in the inlet and then pump it back onto the beach. If it gets approved, it's a move that could save the county a lot of money. We're live tonight in Fort Pierce. Ryan Hughes, WPTV News Channel 5.
Ryan, thank you. Another reminder to never leave your car running when you're not around. Police in Port St. Lucie arrested a 13-year-old for stealing a car on Northwest St. James. Officers say the car was left unlocked and running. The car is now back with its rightful owner. Civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump set to file a wrongful death lawsuit against a former Florida sheriff's deputy. That lawsuit stems from the disappearance of these two men, Felipe Santos and Terrence Williams. They were last seen in Collier County almost 15 years ago. The lawsuit claims both men vanished after being arrested by Deputy Stephen Calkins. Calkins was never charged but was fired for not cooperating with investigators. The reward for any information that could help solve the case now stands at $200,000. Well, the red tide crisis has been a burden for so many communities along the Gulf Coast. And now we're learning algae might have actually helped police catch a criminal. Cape Coral police say over the weekend, Abraham Duarte was running from them after a traffic stop. We're told he ended up jumping into a canal to try and swim away, but he ended up overwhelmed by all the algae in the water. Police say Duarte actually gave up, swam back to shore after he swallowed some of it. He's now facing several charges tonight. Well, a man from Miami is hanging dead ducks as a way to get speeders to slow down in his neighborhood. The homeowner says he's had it with reckless drivers. He posted 2 dead ducks on a stop sign. He says drivers are bound to slow down to wonder why they're there. An Orlando home split in 2 after a crane collapse. The roof was under construction when the crane fell in Baldwin Park. Thankfully, no one was injured. Well, we've heard of driverless cars. Now, driverless school buses. The Florida County ready to test them out. And Dorothy's ruby red slippers found after they were stolen from a museum. But the FBI still needs your help. We'll explain. Well, we told you about driverless cars. Now get ready for driverless school buses. They're being rolled out this month in Southwest Florida. Leaders in Charlotte County worked with a transit company to develop a dozen passenger electric buses. They can reach speeds of 8 miles an hour right now and will eventually go up to 30. It brakes automatically when danger is detected. They're testing the buses right now and they should launch next month. There will always be a safety attendant on board with students. A high school student in California is calling out SAT officials after he found an old exam online that matched word for word the test he took last month. So now he's worried some students may have had an unfair advantage when it comes to taking the exam. In a statement, the College Board said it has significantly increased its test security efforts and resources to prevent cheating. The red ruby slippers that Judy Garland famously wore in The Wizard of Oz have been found. The shoes were taken from the Judy Garland Museum in Grand Rapids, Minnesota back in August of 2005. Investigators are now asking the public for help, seeking information on where those slippers have been all this time and who had them. 5 different versions of the shoes are known to have survived post-production of the 1939 classic movie. With high school football season underway, there are now new recommendations on how to treat concussions in kids. Then tonight at 6, it's an inspiring story about a horse that gets a second chance at life. Hear its journey forward on getting a new leg.
As Gordon moves away, we start to see some sunshine across South Florida. We'll have an update on this, Florence, the rest of the tropics, and this week's forecast coming up.
Well, employees at a Sarasota thrift store got quite the surprise after opening a donation. Inside, they discovered nearly 5 pounds of marijuana. The drugs were sorted into individual vacuum-sealed bags. Employees called police. They quickly took possession of the pot. They're now checking surveillance cameras, hoping to figure out how it got there. New video tonight showing a tow truck driver escape an armed robbery by running around his truck. Miami police released the video showing a knife-wielding man chasing the driver at a gas station. Once the victim ran inside, the robber then stole his cell phone and cash from the vehicle. Now police are trying to find that suspect before he strikes again. Well, the NFL regular season doesn't kick off until this upcoming weekend, but that did not stop the Miami Dolphins, from picking up a win off the field today. ESPN 106.3's Jason Pugh is here with more on that. Jason.
Jay, the Miami Dolphins made their way to Palm Beach County for a great cause. They stopped in Boca Raton to visit Spanish River High School. It was all part of the Junior Dolphins donation program. Sharks and Dolphins certainly came together today. The Dolphins organization, they donated football equipment to Spanish River. This day included more than just free gear. The Dolphins also presented a jersey to the team in honor of their injured teammate, Miles Levine. Levine suffered a brain injury during the team's first game, the Kickoff Classic. He is expected to return home on Friday. For former Miami Dolphin and former Miami Hurricane Tawana Russell, the opportunity to speak with this group was beneficial to all.
It's a strong bond between Miles and his teammates. The amount of love and prayers that they've been sending out, it's very encouraging, and it's hard. These guys have to go and line up and play a game this week, and they're thinking about their brother. So I think it's difficult, but you know what? Something like this, where we can come out and bless them and encourage their spirits, it gives them the ability to be positive.
Elsewhere, Palm Beach Gardens resident Serena Williams will be front and center tonight. Williams will compete in the quarterfinals of the 2018 U.S. Open. She last competed in the U.S. Open 2 years ago, where she fell in the semifinals. Her opponent on that night was tonight's opponent, Karolina Pliskova. Williams has won the U.S. Open 6 times throughout her illustrious career. Now, earlier today, Sloane Stephens lost in straight sets. That means Serena will face Anastasia Sedovova. If she wins tonight, we'll have those highlights for you coming up later tonight at 11. Jay?
Jason, thank you. Well, with high school football season underway, experts are giving new recommendations on how to treat concussions in kids. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are the first to specifically address children. They recommend against routine x-rays and blood tests for diagnosing children. But if a child is vomiting after a head injury or loses consciousness or has headaches that get worse, a doctor may order a CT scan. The CDC recommends rest for the first 3 days after a concussion and then a gradual return to normal activity. Well, if you've ever grabbed a chocolate chip cookie and then another, biology may be to blame. Research suggests the ingredients in chocolate chip cookies blend to create a perfectly addictive treat. One of the main ingredients, sugar, is shown to induce cravings and can trigger some of the same addictive responses as cocaine. The chocolate contains small amounts of a compound that triggers the same parts of your brain as the addictive ingredient in marijuana, THC. Well, some big news for Amazon as it hits a new milestone and a new digit. The business giant is officially $1 trillion in market value. That makes it the second publicly traded U.S. company ever to do so other than Apple. Analysts cite Amazon's success from online sales and its expanding web service business. Its stock has also more than doubled in the past year. Merriam-Webster.com just added over 800 words and definitions to its dictionary. Some new words include biohacking and adorbs. The abbreviation GOAT, greatest of all time, also made the list. The word flight got a new definition, describing small tastings of beer or wine. And the words guac and hangry are also now officially words. Happening right now, more PBSO deputies are patrolling Okeechobee Boulevard and Military Trail in West Palm Beach. WPTV News Channel 5's Stephanie Susskind shows us how they plan to make the dangerous intersections safer.
Well, this is a very busy intersection here at Okeechobee Boulevard and Military Trail, and that's why deputies want to make sure everyone is staying safe, especially pedestrians using the crosswalks and using them properly by pushing the buttons. Now, deputies say that they'll be out here mostly to educate drivers, pedestrians, and bicyclists about how to stay safe out here on the roadways, but they say they will issue warnings or citations if necessary. Now, for bicyclists, they want to remind people to go with the flow of traffic and always use lights if it's dark outside, and of course for pedestrians, use those crosswalks. Now, PBSO says that from January to June of this year, they've investigated 20 deadly crashes involving someone walking or on a bike, so that's what they're trying to prevent. This is just one intersection they'll be targeting with this enforcement campaign. It begins today and runs until May of next year. Reporting in Palm Beach County, I'm Stephanie Susskind. Back to you.